Recent Politico article cites you as shaping President Biden's personal and political evolution on transgender issues. What has that looked like, Senator, from your vantage point?
Well, first off, thanks so much for having me. I would never claim to take credit for this president's staunch and unwavering support of the LGBTQ community as vice president and now as president. This president has a big heart, and that's one of the many reasons why I'm proud to call him a friend and an ally. And I have seen the passion in his eyes. I have heard the passion in his voice when he talks about LGBTQ rights, when he talks about violence against our community. I know he feels it deeply. And I also know that he's carrying on Beau Biden, his son's legacy, who I worked with here in Delaware to pass a landmark non-discrimination bill for the LGBTQ community back in 2013. So the credit all goes to this president for his support and his leadership.
Senator, I have been following your career for a very long time with great interest. I don't know if you remember, about 6 years ago, we were at the Democratic National Committee together. I was very newly pregnant, so I remember it very vividly. And what is interesting to me about your decision to run for Congress is that a lot of the action we are watching all across this country, action on big issues, including LGBTQ issues, is happening in state legislatures, right? That is where we are seeing movement. So I wonder for you, what's the appeal of Congress? What do you think you can get done there that you can't get done in a state legislative body?
Well, I have seen over the last 3 years in the Delaware State Senate the possibilities for progress that exist in state legislatures like Delaware's. That's why I ran for the state Senate, and it's how I've been able to pass legislation like paid family and medical leave here in just my first term, how I've been able to pass bills expanding access to health care, why I've been fighting for and helping to champion gun safety and reproductive rights. But ultimately, what I've seen is that for so many of the issues that matter to Delawareans, like the issues I just mentioned, ultimately, we need federal action and federal investment to protect our rights and to meet the needs of workers and families. That's why I'm running for Congress, to build on the progress we've made here in Delaware, but to truly protect our rights, to protect reproductive rights, to ensure that assault weapons aren't getting into our borders, to afford early childhood education to every family here in Delaware. We need Congress to act. That's why I'm running. Ultimately, too, we need diversity in government. We need representation at every level. And so while I'm not running to be the transgender member of Congress, I am cognizant that this is an important opportunity at this moment in our country to prove that our democracy is big enough for all of us. And I think here in Delaware, we'll do that in 2024.
As I listen to you tick through those variety of policy issues that are front of mind for voters, it strikes me that what is happening among Republicans, at least Republicans who are running for president right now, is this like, who can be the most hateful, who can be the most anti-immigrant, anti-LGBTQ. That is the battle that they are locked in, not an actual policy or ideological battle. I know you saw Governor DeSantis's transphobic ad. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it, except as it serves as sort of a window into the current Republican Party and what it is that they think is somehow motivating voters to the polls. I mean, how does that comport with what you hear when you are in Delaware and actually talking to your constituents and would-be voters?
It's entirely out of touch with what is actually keeping Delaware voters across the country up at night. What I hear consistently on the doors, talking to voters up and down the state, is that what they're concerned about is the cost of childcare, the cost of healthcare. What they're concerned about is gun safety. What they're concerned about is their rights being rolled back by this U.S. Supreme Court and a Congress that isn't able to step in and truly protect those rights. What I don't hear about are people concerned about trans kids in their schools. What I don't hear about are people concerned that we're going to teach young people about the racial injustice of our history. Ultimately, all of these attacks are attempting to censor topics so that young people don't learn about the history of this country, because these Republican politicians want to repeat the worst parts of our history.